Hello and welcome back to Boxing Social in association with Betfred. My name is Ayman. I'm here in London. Just concluded the Okolie-Cieslak press conference. With me is a fighter you'll know very well who's appearing on the undercard. He is the one and only Fabio Wardley. Fabio, you're looking like you're my camera here. Kind of same sort of setup, the nice colour scheme going on. First of all, how's life treating you?
Yeah, no, everything's good, thank you, mate. Feeling good, back to it in the gym regularly, just training and having a good one with it. Just enjoying it, back to enjoying my training.
Just caught the end of your last interview there, talking about having a towel over your head for a TikTok video. You ever remember kind of late 90s wrestling Taz had the towel on his head come out like that? No, well, you have to check it out.
Is that what I looked like?
Probably looked a little bit like Taz, but anyway, that's a wrestler, you're a fighter, you're coming up fighting on February 27th. You had an injury you were dealing with towards the back end of last year. What was that, and are you fully on the mend? Fighters normally, they're not normally kind of 100% when they come in, but where are you with that?
I'm probably at about 90%. I had an issue with my lower discs rubbing together and just causing pain throughout all of my lower back, which obviously affected me in just everyday life, even just sitting down, laying down, hurt, and especially training and sparring, it just killed. So I wasn't able to train to my full capacity. I wasn't able to do anything properly. It just was all really getting on top of me. So I just decided, you know what, take some time out, fix it, get this sorted, then we can come back. Because I want to have a big year this year, so I don't want to come into it at 50, 60%. I want to come in 90, 100 and be in the right place.
How did you deal with that? Because there's some kind of people that think it's kind of good to get a little bit break from boxing. You were active in that last year, or at least recently in your career, but sometimes it's kind of good to just assess, slow the brakes down a bit. But did you want that in a way, or did you want to kind of come back as soon as possible?
You never really want to be out because you feel like the world's passing you by, especially the boxing world. You feel like everyone's fighting, everyone's moving up in the ranks, everyone's just going past you. So you never really want to hang around too much. But I think it's just looking back to then and then how I'm training and how I'm sparring now, it was just so needed. So needed. It was so important. Like, I don't know where I'd be and what kind of situation I'd be in body-wise if I didn't have that break. So yeah, I'm glad I took it. I'm glad I did it because I didn't particularly want to, but when you're in it, you're actually like, you know what, this is good for me.
In terms of your year, are you a fighter that has kind of goals and aspirations that you want to tick off yearly? And with that said, what are they, if you do have them?
Probably the two main ones for this year are to obviously get a few rounds in terms of going to later stages of fights, 7, 8, 9, 10, go into those kind of periods and know how my body feels, how I'm reacting, how I'm feeling. And then also obviously it's the aim for the British title or some other belt, so whether it's the British, Commonwealth, European, whatever, that's fine, no problem, but I want to tick off more on the list and kind of get some more silverware.
Before you get there, you've obviously got your opponent coming up on, like I mentioned, 27th of February. Have we got an opponent lined up? Have we got a name?
Not yet. No opponent yet. A few names banded around and things, but it's whatever. We just wait and see what's coming up, what's available, and we'll just go for that. It's just one to get me back in, get stuck in. Still a good high level, but just one to get me kind of back in the mix and go from there.
Eddie kind of mentioned you've been sparring, and it seems like with the heavyweight division specifically, everyone kind of gets around and spars with everyone and gets that experience up. But Johnny Fisher is someone you've been sparring with. How have those kind of been, and other spars that you've been doing, how have those been?
Yeah, no, Johnny Fisher, Derek Chisora, another guy called Jamie from who's just signed with Sky, St. Lucian Amateur. So I've been getting around.
TKV.
Yes, yeah. Been getting around with those guys and just getting the sparring in as and where I can. Good guys, nice quick guys, good hands, high work rate. I think is important when I'm sparring. So I've been getting the good work in.
And that British title, it's held by Joyce at the moment, I believe it is. Obviously, it's kind of like a pile-up in terms of waiting for kind of see what Joyce does before that gets kind of vacated, and then you looking to fight for it. But you mentioned kind of Nathan Gorman. Is that kind of the prime name that you look for in fighting for that British title?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just because that's the most obvious contender. He's the most obvious next guy in line for it. I'm the other one, so it just seems like it's the most obvious option to put us two together. Whether it's him or maybe someone else, I'm not too fast. I'm not hunting for Nathan Gorman. It just seems like he's going to be there. But if he's not, then no problem. All I want is that belt.
A couple of things away from you, and we'll bring it back to you. Dillian Whyte, obviously, the purse bid's kind of been pushed back. They've agreed to been pushed back a number of times. This will be the final time. Tyson Fury put out on Twitter that he's looking to annihilate Dillian Whyte. So maybe it looks like we're setting for that direction. What do you know about the latest in terms of kind of that situation going on?
Not much more than you, really. All I know, probably the only real insider information I have is probably how fed up Dill is of all of this. Like, he just doesn't do this kind of stuff. It's not his way of conducting himself. It's not his way of business. He just doesn't want to mess around. He wants to get stuff done, wants it organised, wants to know where he's going with things and work towards that. So hopefully in the next couple of days we should get our kind of final answer, but who knows nowadays, who knows.
Fabio, put yourself in those shoes. What would you do?
It's difficult because I know you have people in your ear, you've got the public in your ear, you've got your friends and family in your ear, you've got the kind of like the people, your back management team and everything all in your ear, thinking what's the best decision for this and what's the decision for that. But I think it's best to just hold out and go through all of this and just get there, because although it's shit when you're in the middle of it, once you get to the end and you get to fight for that belt and you've got that belt and you get to raise it, you forget about all of this and it all becomes worth it. So I think that's the best thing to do.
Let's bring this back to you then. On Fight Night, what can people expect to see from you when you step into that ropes?
Same as you always see, a good, entertaining fight and a knockout at the end.
Looking forward to it. Fabius, thank you so much for speaking to Boxing Social. All the best for your fight coming up in February.